Hi, so this is what I look like. Thought I'd show a little exploit today. Lets you import some graphics from the Game Boy camera into Pokémon Yellow. What I did was I chose Photo 7 for this because it aligns with SRAM Bank 2, the same as the start of the box data in Pokémon Yellow. And the nice thing is you can modify SRAM Bank 2 and you don't have to adjust the checksum, so you can just edit raw data there and then they'll apply and you can load the save file. So basically this little torchic here, I planned this on a little whiteboard and made it, found the ratio, which is about the Game Boy size 160 pixels by 144 pixels, and I just have a little bit more than a third or a little bit less than a third here, which represents the torchic sprite. So yeah, and the mu here is for the comparison, with mu being a 56 by 56 pixel sprite, I believe. And originally I had the 56 by 56 pixel sprite in mind, and the reason why I was doing sprites is because I wanted to actually apply this as a front sprite, or a back sprite, but the thing is that you have to compress the sprite, because this is the raw graphics data we're dealing with here, instead of the compressed Pokemon sprites, which you can use external tools to form, but I'm not quite sure if there's a routine to do it locally within the ROMs themselves. There's routines to decompress the sprites, but I'm not sure if you can do it the other way around. Anyway, specifically, let me check my notes. One moment. So, back to Photo 7 here. The top portion of the torchic sprite, that's 2:A910, and then the second part is AA10, and then AB10, and then AC10. Technically its feet are part of AD10, but then you end up with a sprite that's no longer 40 by 40 pixels. So I ended up just doing the top portion of the torchic sprite here. And now when we go back into Pokemon Yellow, that portion of the SRAM is going to be in the box data instead. And as before, you can change this and you don't have to adjust the checksum or anything. All you have to do is open SRAM Bank 2 and then modify the data, which brings us to the cart swap and the double cart swap exploits here. Now I've explained this in more detail in the description, but basically first I've got this little graphics loader. Oops, they've got breakpoints on. I need to turn them off. There we go. So we've got this little graphics loader here, and what it does, it will load the picture from that portion of the SRAM into the tilemap and the graphics data. We overwrote some of the graphics data, which is why the room suddenly turned to a white floor here, but as you can see, the graphics are currently all 0 zeros. However, when we use WSM here, it loads the cart swap exploit, and what that does is it just delays the game in RAM with interrupts disabled, so it can't load any ROM routines that would cause the game to freeze or anything like that. And then after the delay is complete, we just swap to our Game Boy camera here. So we just wait a few moments, and there. Now the swap I did was actually a swap halfway through into the initialization logic, so that skips some of the RAM initialization. So this means we can continue running RAM that was left over from Pokémon Yellow. Not only that, we've used our own OAM DMA routine instead. We injected a jump DA9E as the DMA OAM routine, and also DA9E we loaded the accumulators 9 and put that into DA16. And what DA16 is it determines some of the logic when you're on the title screen pertaining to the option or the menu you're on. And 09 is invalid, and it causes a little jump. If I set the breakpoints again, I can remember where it was. Oh, it was somewhere in, I think that was right. Yeah, I just tested it. Well, if it wasn't, yeah, yes. So now I've set the breakpoint here, but well, this invalid Game Boy camera menu now is running arbitrary code execution in FOC9 in Echo RAM, and FOC9 in Echo RAM is equivalent to DLC9 in RAM. And before we injected our own data there, and then we redirected it back to the DA, DB, DZX portions where we typically saw the box data list, not the box data itself, which is in SRAM, but the current list that we loaded into memory. But okay, now we can disable these breakpoints now, and then the delay is back here, and then we can just load another session of Pokémon Yellow. Now I forgot to mention this, but okay, what this involves, similar to stop and swap on the Nintendo 64, you pull out the cartridge while the game is still on, and actually this has to be on a Game Boy Color. It won't work on a Game Boy Advance SB because I believe Nintendo fixed it, or whoever manufactured the Game Boy fixed the exploit. But sometimes what can happen is it just goes back to the boot routine where it shows the Game Boy Color logo. So unfortunately you have to keep trying, especially because this is 2 cart swaps in succession, one for Pokémon Yellow and then one for Game Boy Camera. But anyway, we're now back to our graphics dumper routine. We apply it, and then there we go. We just brought over Torchic from the Photo 7. And to also extra clarification, you can modify the photo, and if you repeat the exploit again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, say we gave Torchic a cute flower stamp. So let me find it. I know it's there. There we go. There we go. Now we can swap back to Pokémon Yellow. Repeat the exploit again. Oh, forgot to use WSM. Back to the glitch menu address. To which we can't swap again. Use the graphics dumper. And there we go, where's our little Torchic who now has a little flower. So yeah, if you're like, yes, please excuse that I'm not really that socially confident, but go ahead and share my face and share this sort of annotation. Try it, and yeah, it's quite nice, and just I'm not really just. I get shy on camera, and I'm not really that good at public speaking, but yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. Now, as usual, there will be more detail in the description, and I'll attach the save files as well. So, thanks for watching, bye.